Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Surabhi Sharma. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 24th of July. 1 killed, 3 feared dead in coal mine landslip in eastern India. Pakistan still has about 40,000 militants, admits Prime Minister Imran Khan. And Sri Lankan President rejects allegations over Easter Sunday bombings. And now for all the details. 1 worker was killed and 3 others were feared dead in a landslide at an open cast mine in Angul district of India's eastern Odisha province. The incident took place on Tuesday night and the rescue operations were still underway till the last reports came in.
1 worker was killed and 3 others were feared dead in a landslide at an open cast mine of Mahanadi Coalfield Limited in India's eastern Odisha province. The incident took place in Bharatpur area of Odisha's Angul district on Tuesday night. 9 injured workers were shifted to a hospital after a rescue operation was launched by security staff, police and fire services personnel. The open cast mine with production capacity of 20,000 tons a day had been shut after the late Tuesday accident. The incident comes only months after at least 15 miners were trapped in an illegal rat hole coal mine in the northeastern Meghalaya province in December.
Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan on Tuesday during his 3-day visit to the US admitted that his country still has about 40,000 militants. Ties between Washington and Islamabad had strained last year after US President Donald Trump blamed that Pakistan provides safe haven to militants.
In a startling revelation, Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan on Tuesday said that his country still has about 30,000 to 40,000 militants. The Pakistani leader made the statement while speaking to an audience of US policymakers, scholars and diplomats at the US Institute of Peace in Washington. Khan said that previous governments in Pakistan did not have the political will to disarm militant groups operating on their soil, which his Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf government has started doing.
Until we came into power, the governments did not have the political will because when you talk about the militant groups, they still have about 30 to 40,000 armed people who have been trained and in some sort of a theater who fought either in Afghanistan, maybe in Kashmir.
Ties between the US and Pakistan had strained last year after US President Donald Trump targeted Islamabad in a tweet and blamed it for continuing to provide safe havens to militants. The Pakistani Prime Minister also held talks with US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Tuesday. After the meeting, Pompeo said that he hoped to see progress in the days and months ahead on peace in Afghanistan, counter-terrorism, regional security and trade.
An anti-terrorism court on Wednesday extended UN-designated terrorist Hafiz Saeed's judicial remand for 14 more days. Saeed, chief of the proscribed Jamaat ad-Dawa, was earlier sent on a 7-day judicial remand after his arrest on terror financing charges. 23 cases were registered against him and 12 of his aides. Saeed is the founder of Lashkar-e-Toiba, the terror group blamed by the US and India for the Mumbai attacks which killed 166 people, including 6 Americans. The move to arrest him came after pressure from the Financial Action Task Force, which gave Pakistan an October deadline to improve its efforts against terror financing. Moving on, a shutdown strike was observed by traders across Gilgit-Baltistan against the rising inflation and unjustified taxes being imposed by the Pakistani government. They expressed the illegally occupied region is bearing the brunt of failed economic policies of Islamabad.
Traders across the illegally occupied region of Gilgit-Baltistan recently held a shutter-down strike against the rising inflation and unjustified taxes being imposed by the Pakistani government. The traders said that Islamabad has brought anti-trader policies in the new budget. They said that increase in dollar price has brought a new wave of inflation, while imposition of new taxes in budget have created great concerns in the business community.
आने वाली काल पे गिलगित बल्तिस्तान के तमाम तिजारती मराकज़ बंद हैं और ये हड़ताल ज़ालिमाना टैक्स और महंगाई के ख़िलाफ़ की गई है और अगर दोबारा भी इस तरह की कोई मरकज़ की तरफ से हमें कॉल आई तो इंशाअल्लाह हम किसानों में कहना खड़े रहेंगे और इस ज़ालिम और जुल्म के ख़िलाफ़ इंशाअल्लाह ताजर बरादरी पूरे पाकिस्तान में सीसा फैलाई हुई दीवार की तरह हुकूमत के सामने खड़ी रहेगी.
The economic policies in the illegally occupied regions of Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir are decided according to the whims and fancies of Islamabad. While Pakistan has been witnessing economic challenges in recent days owing to its incompetent policies, the occupied region, which is already marginalized, has borne the major brunt of unfair taxes and high inflation.
In news from Sri Lanka, Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena rejected allegations levelled against his administration by some sections 3 months after Easter Sunday attacks that killed more than 250 people.
Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena rejected allegations levelled against his administration by some sections 3 months after Easter Sunday attacks. He said it is not fair to come to conclusions with vested political interests in mind about the attacks on hotels and churches that killed more than 250 people in the country. Sirisena said that as a government, his administration fulfilled its duties and responsibilities after the attacks, and the terrorist organizations that carried out these attacks were wiped out from the country. Sri Lanka on Monday extended a law granting security forces emergency powers for a 4th month following the Easter Sunday bombings. Under the law, security forces can interrogate suspects without court orders. More than 100 people have been arrested in the crackdown launched after the bombings, which were claimed by the Islamic State. In news from Nepal, landslide triggered by incessant rainfall swept a settlement area in western Nepal, claiming at least 11 lives. Residents across several parts of Nepal have been displaced from their homes as incessant monsoon rains pounded many areas in mostly mountainous Nepal this month.
Landslide triggered by incessant rainfall in a settlement area of Gumli district in western Nepal has claimed 11 lives. 2 others were still missing when land mass swept settlement area at Satyavati Rural Municipality Ward number 3 and 4. Residents have taken shelter in a local school, while the Nepal Army and police personnel with the help of locals were carrying out search and rescue operations. Continuous rainfall in the area added to the troubles. The death toll in Nepal from flash floods and landslides since past 2 weeks rose to 101 on Tuesday evening. Thousands have been displaced from their homes as incessant monsoon rains pounded many areas in mostly mountainous Nepal, submerging large area of land, inundating homes and destroying bridges and roads across the country.
Celebrations of Vijay Diwas, the anniversary of Kargil War in 1999, is underway in India's Leh city in Jammu and Kashmir province. Kargil War is one of the most prominent wars between India and Pakistan. India will mark the 20th anniversary of the Victory Day on July 26th.
India will mark the 20th anniversary of Vijay Diwas or Victory Day on July 26th. Celebrations of Vijay Diwas, the anniversary of Kargil War, have already started in Leh city in India's Jammu and Kashmir province. On July 26, 1999, the Indian Armed Forces defeated the Pakistani army at the heights of Batalik, Kargil and Dras sectors of Kashmir. As part of the celebrations, an exhibition was organized where weapons and equipments used by the Indian Army were put on display. Visitors coming to the exhibition were seen posing with the weapons that showcase the military might of the country.
ये 20 साल के बाद पहला बार यहाँ लेह में मना रहा है. ये एक बहुत अच्छा चीज़ है क्योंकि सिविल और आर्मी के बीच में ये रिलेशन बहुत अच्छा होगा।
Nearly 500 Indian soldiers died on the snow-capped peaks of Kargil in the campaign to oust hundreds of infiltrators from Pakistan in the summer of 1999.
A social worker in Western India has taken upon himself to teach water conservation methods to school students. He has been acquainting them about the technique to install a drum in a pit for groundwater recharge purposes.
A social worker in India's western Mumbai city has taken upon himself to acquaint students with water conservation methods and help prevent crisis of water. Subhajit Mukherjee visited a school on Tuesday where he interacted with students who have dug a pit for groundwater recharge purposes, a technique where a drum is installed inside a pit filled with stones. A water pipe is attached to it which collects the water from any source where water gets accumulated like a terrace or a field and sends the water to the drum. The water in the drum then goes inside the ground which does not let it evaporate, thus conserving water and preventing its wastage.
तो ये पानी धीरे धीरे बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट हमारे एक ग्रेविटी तो रहता ही है, उसके थ्रू पानी ज़मीन के अंदर चला जाएगा और ज़मीन के अंदर जाएगा तो इवेपोरेट नहीं करेगा। तो एक अनुमान है कि अगर हम एक 6 फीट बाय 6 फीट का खड्डा बनाते हैं और ऑलमोस्ट 8 फीट गड्ढा, तो ये आपको हर घंटे 1000 लीटर पानी ज़मीन के अंदर पहुंचाएगा, जो बहुत ही अच्छा है।
Many parts of India have been experiencing water shortage in rural as well as urban areas. In such a scenario, conserving water through various techniques could prove to be beneficial for all the sections of the society as well as the generations to come.
The transgender community in India's eastern Odisha province on Tuesday organized several events to raise awareness about pregnancy, health and government programs on the same. Infant mortality rate in India is decreasing but is still a common occurrence in rural parts of the country.
The transgender community in India's Odisha province on Tuesday raised awareness about pregnancy, health and government programs on the same with an interactive street play. The transgender community has taken up the initiative of educating people about the essentials of the prenatal period and government programs to help women during pregnancy. The members of the community organized lectures, interactive folk dance sessions, street plays and singing with the villagers and some foreign nationals who were there to see the program. Children were also a part of the audience as the group believes that early education about such crucial issue will make sure they grow up educated about it.
एक प्रेग्नेंट लेडी, एक छोटा बच्चा, एक फैमिली अगर कुछ ना कुछ बेनिफिट ले रहे हैं ट्रांसजेंडर की वजह से, तो डेफिनेटली कल अगर वही साइज से वही गली से मैं निकल रही हूँ तो कहीं ना कहीं वही माँ उसका बच्चा को बोलेगा, बेटा देख तू जब मेरी पेट में था ना, ये आके मुझे हॉस्पिटल जा, आयरन टैबलेट खा, इससे सब्जी खा, ये मुझे बोल रहे थे। तो ऑटोमेटिकली धीरे धीरे सब चेंज हो जाएगा।
एक मैंने गर्भवती महिला के लिए बहुत जानकारी मिल रहा, जो नहीं भी जानते थे मैंने उनको सब समझाने के लिए मैंने एक नाटक भी करे, वो समझ भी गए हैं और मैंने आंगनबाड़ी की तरफ से मैंने बहुत ये भी हम लोग जानकारी भी मिलता है, ये होता है।
Infant mortality rate in India is decreasing but is still a common occurrence in rural areas of the country. According to the UNICEF, it is estimated that 44,000 women die due to preventable pregnancy-related causes in India annually.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. 1 killed, 3 feared dead in coal mine landslip in eastern India. Pakistan still has about 40,000 militants, admits Prime Minister Imran Khan. And Sri Lankan President rejects allegations over Easter Sunday bombings. Now viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.